Welcome back to another great episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I'm Nick and with me as always is TJ, who is hammered. And I got to say, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home.
Welcome back, baby.
Thank you. It's good to be back. You look good, T.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I was about to say, you look fantastic. You don't look overworked at all. I mean, they practically made you live out of your backseat of your beautiful truck. At least that's where you podcasted from. I guess the toilet was taken, but
I actually slept back there. Somebody decided upon himself that he was going to turn on a white noise machine and just blasted it. And it sounded like I lived inside a hand dryer. And
which is crazy because for context, I know this because me and Nick quite often go down to Atlantic City, and all we need is one room because we're not really in the room. We're usually down at the tables gambling or drinking whiskey or smoking a cigar. So I happen to know this about Nick, that Nick sleeps with the TV on, which kind of irks me until if I'm hammered drunk, I just pass right out, which is normally the case. But you could sleep with the TV on, and that weirds me out. So I'm surprised that the white noise machine was more abrasive than the Wayans brothers.
So you know what's so funny is I turned on the Wayans brothers this morning and fell asleep watching that on my couch. It's funny you bring up the Wayans brothers. Great show, by the way.
Does Marlon's voice soothe you? By the way, shout out to the Wayans brothers because is that not the greatest family in comedy?
It's up there. It gets no respect whatsoever. Right? It is definitely up there.
Yeah. I mean, just like the Baldwins are up there because of who is it? Steven in Biodome.
Facts. So the white noise machine bothered me because I sleep with headphones when I'm away, I put headphones on. And I only sleep with one headphone in because I sleep on my side. And if I put two in, then either a button will get pressed and it'll turn off what I'm listening to, or it'll just hurt my ear overall. And I can hear the white noise machine through my noise canceling my noise canceling headphones. That's how loud this guy had it.
Jesus, dude, this guy was just what do you want to live in, like a wind tunnel where they test like jet engines or something?
I guess so. Yeah, he thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Put some fucking headphones on, dude. There's 60 of us here.
Little do you know that guy's deaf. He's just trolling all of you.
Oh, he's just a selfish asshole is what he is.
It'd be amazing if it was something else. And then, oh yeah, the first 20 minutes is white noise, and then after that, it's just startled parrot.
You know what? I would have been okay. He's like, oh, it's better than the snoring, and I'm like, I can't hear the snoring through the freaking noise canceling headphones. I can hear the white noise machine through my noise canceling headphones. Like it's that loud. And on top of that, I'm like. He's like, well, nobody said they had a problem with it. I'm like, what are you talking about? 3 people told you it was overly loud, and you were like, stop it, you love it. I was like, you're like
one guy held a bayonet to your neck while you slept.
Dude, it was like he was like a sex offender where he's like, shut up, you know you want it, like, and then be like, wanted it. What?
Nobody said don't touch them there,
right? Like, it was ridiculous, and I'm like, in what world is this okay? I'm like you said, I like to sleep with the TV on. Like, what if I just turned on Scrubs and blasted Scrubs for the whole barracks to hear? Is that cool?
That'd be all right. That'd be fine with me.
You know, I usually go to sleep to non-laugh track TV shows, unless we're in Atlantic City, and then it's like, fuck it, I don't care if I sleep or not.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it is. Damn it.
There's no laugh track on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You're right. They play the cop intense music when something happens in the cutscene and shit.
Yeah, so I usually listen
to
half
cop, half Seinfeld music.
I listen to like Scrubs or like The Office because there's no laugh track. But Meredith can't hear The Office because if she hears, like, there's a character on the show named Meredith, so if they say Meredith, she wakes up, which is ludicrous, but whatever.
It was great.
By the way, cheers.
Yeah, cheers, brother. Oh, nice little. Is that a Jets mug? Oh, nice. Sorry, I just like screamed everybody's ear. I can't see for shit. So it happens to not be a Jets mug.
Well, talking about the Jets, let's get into it. So the Jets were actually among the first teams to cancel minicamp this week. Actually, they canceled minicamp because they are in preparation for playing in the Hall of Fame game in the preseason, which is cool. I think it's a cool honor. But in other Jets news, Dalvin Cook was cut by the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I'm a big Dalvin Cook fan because I'm a Florida State fan. For anybody that watches the show, you know that about me. From time to time, I will wear a Florida State shirt and or hat. Big Florida State fan, big Dalvin Cook fan. And there's some rumors about him potentially going to our New York Jets, as well as the Dallas Cowboys or the Miami Dolphins. So I guess, first of all, I think the prospect of him going to the Jets is a big deal because Breece Hall coming off the big knee injury. In my mind, though, I'm looking at it and I'm going, that's not going to be a cheap contract. That is definitely not that's definitely not like a flyer type of contract. You're talking about somewhere between $5 and $10 million for not necessarily a backup. And hear me out when I say this. I love Dalvin Cook. That's my guy. I'm a Florida State fan. You know, like when you see a guy who plays for a team that you would enjoy, you want to watch them play for your team. Like always. That's a thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? At the same time, we just drafted Israel Abanikanda, excuse me. We have Breece Hall, as we all know. We have Bam Knight. We also have Michael Carter. So I guess the question becomes, we're talking about right now, you have Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, and Israel Abanikanda. That's 4 running backs. If you bring in Dalvin Cook, one of them is definitely getting cut. Who do you cut, right? And are you just giving up on these young running backs? And I'm not saying not justifiably. I'm just kind of saying, like, looking at it, some of these guys were second-round picks, and you're going, all right, we're done with them already. They've played 2 seasons. They're not putting up star numbers. We're done with them. We're going to bring in somebody else. Mind you, Dalvin Cook has gotten injured quite a bit over the course of the last few years. He's got a lot of carries on those legs. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, when do you give up a player and say, fuck it, I can get a generational guy? Well, not necessarily generational, but I can get a proven talent. Even though I just drafted this guy in the second round last year, fuck him.
So it's weird, right? We have this young talent that obviously you're not giving up on. You can't give up on. And then, you know, a talent like Dalvin Cook comes out there, and especially since you hear Miami has an interest, the first reaction is like, well, we got to get them before Miami picks him up. Like, right? Like we can't let him go to Miami. I can't have him watch him destroy us 2 weeks out of 17. You know what I mean? So it's an odd situation. Dolphins are going to be good. But at the same time, when you have young talent, and it's not that you know what you have with Breece Hall. Breece Hall, I think after last year, proved his worth 100%. Is he going to be 100%, right? That's the question. Is he going to be 90, 80%? How is he going to perform? Is he going to be scared? Is he going to be tentative? Whatever. But the guys behind them are obviously picked in those spots for a reason, right? There's faith that they're going to be good. Or at least at the onset. We're not sitting there at minicamp. We haven't seen these guys in the locker room. We haven't, you know, a coach can pick up on certain things by just getting the eye test, which we love. You know what I mean? Especially in baseball, you love the eye test. You can clearly see when somebody has it and doesn't have it. Aaron Hicks lasted way too long. But I digress. It's to lay out that chunk of change for somebody that's prone to injury, that is probably his best years are behind him at this point. And if you get a 70 to 80% of prime year, you'd be happy as a pig in shit. Is that worth not giving people time to develop or get in the game or seeing what you actually have for cents on the dollar in comparison? I would love Cook on the team, and I think he would help out the team. I don't think he'd be a waste or a bust or anything like that. How much depth do you need, and is it worth taking it out on the rookies? And I don't think so.
So I don't even know if it's like we're talking about taking it out on the rookies. I'm not even talking about them not getting touches. I'm talking about them not even being on the fucking team.
That's what I mean. You're not even giving a chance to find out.
And I love Dalvin Cook, and I think it's a good strategy if Breece Hall is not cleared to play at the start of the season, and that's a very likely scenario, simply because he tore his ACL, for Christ's sake. Like, it's not like tearing your ACL in basketball in football is the equivalent of getting Tommy John surgery in baseball. You're out for a year at least.
I think in the situation that if the Jets game plan going into this season is we know what we have with Breece, we're babying him this season, or at least the first half of the season, and he's not getting the touches that, a number one running back should get, you're splitting time, and that's for your protection, and that's to ease you back into the league. Then I think you spend the money on Cook, and then you bring him in so you have somebody that you can lean on at least a little bit or a little bit more, knowing that, like, all right, listen, we paid – this guy's here to do a job. If he happens to get hurt because his past dictates that he might, it's better than us sacrificing our future star and possibly the next 8 years of quality running back. So I think if that's going in to baby his knee, then yeah, you definitely spend the money and bring him in.
So the question I guess I have for you is, if you do that, who gets cut? Now, just to give you a couple stats on the guys that
I honestly think.
Just to give you a little bit of statage on the guys we're talking about. You're talking about Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight, right? He's 22 with 2 years of experience, 5'10", 209 pounds. Kind of a bit of a bruiser. He's a pounder. He'll go out there, he'll pound through the holes, right? Michael Carter is 24 with 3 years experience. He's 5'8", 201 pounds. All right. And now then you have Israel Abanikanda, who's 5'11", 215, and he's 20. And those are the guys we're talking about right now, those three guys, because obviously Breece is not getting cut. So who do you cut?
Honestly, I think you have a situation where you're going on a straight practice play in. I prove it, earn it.
You don't have anybody like in your head like.
I don't think that's ideal.
I was gonna say, if you pick the wrong guy, he might block you.
Right, not to hate on myself, but you cut the short guy, right? See you later, Michael Carter.
Yeah, honestly, I would only cut Michael Carter because he's 24. He's 24. He's got the carries on his shoulders. I'm not cutting the rookie that I just drafted this season.
No.
You know what I mean? And Bam Knight had a better season last year than Michael Carter did. And it seemed like Michael Carter was very disgruntled earlier in this off season when people discussed conversations like Ezekiel Elliott potentially joining the Jets. Michael Carter went on a blocking spree. Any Jet fan that said, "Oh, the Jets should pick up Ezekiel Elliott," this guy blocked them. And I'm like, "Are you that soft?" And if you're that soft, then this is not the market for you, my friend. This is not it. Like,
right? If you are right out the gate not a top 30 position player, then you always have to worry about your job. And not for nothing, that's exactly what people want. That's what fans want, because guess what? If there's no competition, then you get lax in your job and you don't go the extra mile or push it that extra pound. You know what I mean? I want that competition. I want you to be scared you're going to lose your freaking job, because that's the only way you're going to get the max talent out of somebody.
That was Curtis Martin, right? Curtis Martin was told that basically he was told the Wally Pipp story by Bill Parcells. And he's like, listen, anytime you leave the huddle, somebody's going to take your position. And you'll never know the day that is the last day where they take your position in that huddle.
Right.
So think twice before you leave the huddle. And Curtis Martin ran his whole career with that in his mind. Like, I'm never leaving this huddle because I need to make this money. Not because I love
pretty damn good job,
but I need to make this money. And he said it during his Hall of Fame speech that it wasn't about loving football. It was about, I need to make a living. And good for him.
Right.
Not too much else going on in the world of football. But we
do have one thing going on.
What's
I was going to say, we got to pump up our friend and Commissioner Coop's podcast tonight on the New York Giants. Some familiar face might be on it that we used to be associated with. It's weird. I thought he transitioned and his new name was Dylan Mulvaney, but he still goes by the Rook. So he's going to be on there tonight talking
drinking Bud Light,
Big Blue Sports, drinking Bud Light, throwing rainbows at people. Like, not even like in like a good way. Like, hey, everybody should just be happy and accepting. Like, violently throwing him like a Death Star at you.
Talking about rainbows, real quick. Our friends PJ and Sam are celebrating their 8th anniversary today.
No shit.
Yeah, congratulations to the boys. 8 years they've been married. Good for them.
That's a long wow.
I'm gonna edit this out and I'm gonna post this on Facebook because they're old. They're not on like Twitter and YouTube. But I want PJ and Sam to know I love them, support them, and happy anniversary, fellas. And then lastly,
Jeez, 8 years, bro.
I hate to be, I'm that guy. I always bring this stuff up, but unfortunately, a bit of sad news for us in the Jets world. Our friend John Lawrence from across the pond passed away this weekend. John was a great guy. He had esophageal cancer. We communicated with John pretty regularly on the internet over Twitter, and he kind of became like Jet family famous because of a couple shout outs that the Jets gave him. And John was in the Royal Air Force. Obviously, I'm in the Army, and we kind of bonded over our military service. And just a quick story about John. I was having a rough time during the holidays because my family came to visit and they didn't leave. Like they were here for like 3 or 4 months. And when you live by yourself and your parents come to town and they stay with you for an extended period, you start to feel like suffocated. Where like you feel like you're regressing into childhood anymore, and you start locking yourself in your bedroom and you're afraid to come out because you have no personal space. And I lashed out on Twitter and I was just like, can everybody just leave me alone? Like, leave me alone. And John, going through his battle with cancer, messages me and he goes, "Hey brother, are you okay?" And I said, "I am." He goes, "I saw your message I saw what you tweeted. Are you good? Like, what's up? Let's talk." And in my head and in my heart, mental health struggles amongst veterans is a very serious thing. And it's unfortunately very common. And I'm just sitting there thinking like this guy, and at this point, I've come to the realization that John has been diagnosed with a very bad form of cancer. And he's told me what the outlook looks like. And he's got his own problems to worry about. And he's stopping. I'm almost a stranger. We've talked a lot, but we've never met face to face. We're like pen pals. And he's stopping to tell me like, "Hey man, I'm here for you. What do you need?" And that's John Lawrence in a nutshell. And he will be terribly missed. I spoke to his wife a few days ago to offer my condolences and let her know she knows what kind of man her husband was. But just to share a quick story. And she knew what I was talking about when I told her the story about what was going on around Christmas time. And she's like, "Oh, I was sitting next to him when you guys were having that conversation." And he was telling me. And John was just a great guy overall. And he will be sorely missed by us at the podcast and by me specifically, especially. And here's to you, John. We'll miss you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest in peace. I mean, you talk about somebody that got a raw deal and a young man, and just I think his positivity, it just poured out of him. It radiated off of him through Twitter. Again, we never got to meet him. We were just friends on Twitter, being Jet fans together and just kind of finding each other on Twitter and BSing. But just what a sweet guy. And the positivity that he exuded was insane. I normally, they're obviously big time difference between us and them. And often I'd get up for work, and one of the first things I'd see is either, I guess, his last post of the night or first post of the morning or something like that. And it was just positivity. And it's like starting the day, it's like, "Oh, I'm miserable. I don't want to go to work." And then you want to talk about figuring out where your place in life is and what you have to complain about and don't have to complain about. It's like when somebody like that can be positive, my day immediately got more positive. So John often helped me just start the day on a positive level. So, I mean, that just says something, right? When you are the guy that gets to complain the most. You have every right to curse out everybody, including your maker, right? And they'd be like, "Nah, it's a waste of time. We're not doing that." Positive to the end. It's just incredible, dude. And he is going to be missed.
Yeah, the world lost a great guy. And we'll see you in Valhalla, brother. Sad note to moving on, though, because we have to fight on. So the Yankees played the Mets this week. I got to be honest with you. Subway Series in recent years has lost its luster.
Big time.
The one thing I don't like about the Subway Series is that they play an even amount of games.
Yeah.
They should play an odd amount. It should be a true series where there is a winner always.
100%.
Like there's never, oh, I won 2 games, you won 2 games, or I won 1 game and you won 1 game, or I won 3 games and you won 3. No, play like a 5-game series every other year. I don't care how they figure it out, but there should be a trophy and somebody should get it. Make it mean something to the fans and to the players.
I was going to say, at the very least, like, if I'm the mayor of New York City, do I not say, like, hey, listen, winner of the Subway Series gets their team flag flown in Union Square Park the whole year?
Something.
Like, you know what? Just something, some kind of bragging rights, something that you could look at the other team and be like,
hands down.
Right down the line. You know what I mean?
But they just split the first series of the Subway Series. It's a 2-game set. They just split it. Yankees won the first game. The Mets won the second game in extra innings. Good pitching.
What a wasted steal of home, right?
You know what? You don't see it often. And we honestly, that first of all, I love the play. I love the play. And IKF, that was 100% heads up base running. All right.
Yeah.
And you know, as well as I do, if you're standing on third base and the pitcher's left-handed and he starts from a full windup, steal home. If you have moderate to above average speed, steal home. Why that?
The second they set up that way, the second they make a mistake in their head even and set up that way, the amount of time it takes to step off and then turn your body to actually make a complete step off to show that you're not balking. These guys in the MLB, they're halfway home, if not already starting their slide. You give somebody an opportunity like that, that's a true base runner, knows the game. It's you're safe every time. And that was, I mean, I love to see it, and I couldn't wait to talk smack about it and talk about how he took 2 games and then they lose in extras.
Yeah. And that's the Yankees this year, isn't it? Kurt, it's a mental miscue. The Mets go on to win that game in extra innings. However, I should have been that close. It really shouldn't have. It was like, I just, in my head, I'm like, this guy's throwing from the windup with a runner on third. He's left-handed. Yeah. Like he can't even see the runner. Right. Like it was just a mental miscue by the pitcher. And you don't see it all the time. And that's why we're talking about it. Yankees lost. Absolutely understood. But you don't see somebody steal home plate too often these days.
Not a statistically driven team like the New York Yankees. They're not going to take the extra base if statistically it's not. If it's 51%, you're going to get caught taking the extra base in that situation. You know they're putting on the brakes. They have a mathematician guy just sitting there relaying information to the third base coach in real time. Like, no, hold him. That guy is literally just a programmable stop sign.
So it's weekend at Bernie's.
Exactly. They should really just put an electric light on third base that you just have to look for it the whole way.
Wow. Did we just invent something?
You know what? If we could take it a step further, like basketball style, you can like go 2-man, like, you know, one guy on somebody else's shoulder and throw on a big coat and block the sun.
I pay good money to see that.
Giant doctor. We just keep bringing it back to Scrubs.
The games were played at Citi Field, and Mets fans are very boastful about Citi Field being better than Yankee Stadium. And I just keep going back to Mets fans always bring up the fact that Citi Field's so great because there's so many things to do in the ballpark. And I'm like, I'm fairly certain you're supposed to be there to watch a baseball game. You're not there to go play in the ball pit. I guess if my team lost a whole bunch of games all year long, I would want to go play in the ball pit too instead of fucking watching the game.
I'm not gonna lie. That like, do you remember? Do you ever go to Shea Stadium when the Nickelodeon like GAC Zone was there or whatever it was called?
I never went for the GAC Zone. No,
bro. They had like a ball pit back there. They had different like things associated with Nickelodeon that you could do because I guess the Mets had a partnership at the time with Nickelodeon, and this is at the height of like the Rugrats and Hey Arnold for us. It was pretty awesome, but I agree with you. If the product on the field is worth watching, you don't need all the pomp and circumstance.
You don't need all that. And then the other thing that bothers me about Citi Field is it is literally a monument to the Dodgers. And I don't know if the Mets know this, but the Dodgers still exist. Like, how do you build a monument to a team that you're going to play, and they're going to go to your stadium and go, looks like home.
Right. Exactly.
Like, how do you have a monument to a player that never played on your franchise?
Yeah, it's a little weird and off-putting, but
I think it's just sad. And that's just evidence that the Wilpons never wanted to own the Mets. They wanted to own the Dodgers, couldn't buy the Dodgers, and they settled. That would be like if you married Carissa, but you didn't really want to marry Carissa. You wanted to marry some other girl, and then you guys had a daughter, and you named the daughter after the woman you wanted to be married to.
So sort of like the situation I have right now, but reversed, where Carissa got stuck marrying me, and I was the safe choice because of the pension and the healthcare insurance. And
the whole time she wanted to be with some dude named Alex.
Apparently, yeah.
Wow. Fuck. Thank God your kids.
You know what, Nick? I like my beer like I like my violence. Domestic. I'll be right back. I'm joking. That's horrible. It's not horrible. It's hilarious.
Thank God your kid's not Nick.
Oh shit! Yeah, that would be a conundrum. It's like, oh man, my friend and my wife, double hosed.
Aaron Judge still on the IL. P. Alonso on the IL for a little bit. Unfortunate, as you hate to see the best players in the game go down because you're really losing it on the field. You're losing the talent on the field. You want to see those guys play. Anthony Volpe noticed something with his swing while he was watching old videos with his former minor leaguer teammate, and he may have found a little something. And all I got to ask is, what the fuck was Dylan Lawson doing? You're the hitting coach. You didn't see this hitch in his giddy up? Like,
kind of weird, right? Like it's. I would love to know the process of figuring out like who you're going to bring in as a hitting coach. Right? It's not like the Mr. Baseball Tom Selleck situation where it's like, all right, he's still good enough to play pretty much, but might as well hang it up, and he knows something about hitting and all that stuff. But that's just on the surface, when he gets hired at the end as the hitting instructor or coach or whatever. But in reality, it's like, wait a second, the dude that had to go to Japan to figure out how to hit the ball is now going to tell other people how to do it. It's like, they have hired Tom Selleck's coach from Japan?
It's not the same. It's not the same thing. Only because like Tom Selleck going to Japan to play baseball is kind of like Manny Ramirez going to Japan to play baseball. Like Manny Ramirez knows how to hit a baseball. He doesn't need somebody in Japan to teach him how to do that. That movie took liberty.
It would be amazing if it was Manny Ramirez, a documentary about how he can't hit the ephus, and it's just them throwing out the side of their hand the whole time and him just freaking out.
I would just like to point out that nobody in America throws the shuto for a reason. It's because it's an awful pitch. It's like throwing a screwball and breaking your elbow, and it's just not good. Don't do it. But for those of you kids out there who are like, "Oh, Mr. Baseball, I love that movie. I'm gonna learn how to throw a shuto so I can strike out Tom Selleck." Listen, I'm pretty sure you could strike out Tom Selleck without the shuto. He's now commissioner of the NYPD.
I don't know. So I think he can still put the wood on the ball. Isn't the shuto just like a palm ball? It's like a dead ball, right? Where you throw it and like.
I feel like the shuto is like a cutter, like a weird cutter.
Is it?
I feel like like all those Japanese pitches are like overhyped, right? We're talking about like shutos and gyro balls and all that crap is
gyro
just.
Ball.
It does nothing. Listen. If you're a young
the whole
kid,
thing is that it's meant to. If you do it once a game, it's more meant to confuse somebody to get a cheap strike out of them. Like listen, if you know it's, you know what I mean. Like that's the whole thing. Why did Tim Wakefield every once in a while throw a fastball? Because you're expecting this thing to just go, blah, 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 and then one comes in it straight and messes you up and screws up your timing. That's like it wasn't because he's striking you out with a fastball because that 87-mile-an-hour speed is something to behold. But when you just saw a 50-mile-an-hour wobbler coming at you, confused the hell out of you.
More like an 80-mile-an-hour fast, 77 or something like that. Him and Sidney and Jamie Moyer throwing 75, getting people out. If you really want to pitch and you want to be successful in baseball, curveball, fastball, changeup. It's really all you need. When you throw your fastball, get 2 or 3 fastballs, right? You got your 4-seamer, you got your 2-seamer, you got your cutter. A cutter is a fastball. That's all you need. I know a guy, Hall of Famer, unanimously, only threw 2 pitches. He threw a fastball and he threw a cut fastball. And that was it. At one point, he tried to throw a 2-seamer and he started getting rocked. And he's like, no, back to the bread and butter. We're going to do this fastball and a cut fastball. And that's all he needed. So don't go crazy, kids.
I was going to say, and if you have a fastball,
you don't even need a curveball anymore.
Right? If you have a fastball where you know how to change speeds, that's devastating by itself. If you can go from 92 to 96 with accuracy and make it look the same coming out your hand, that 4-mile-an-hour difference is worlds apart. You are way off of the baseball.
105. You don't need to throw 105. It's extra.
No.
The throwers like Aroldis Chapman, they need to throw 105 miles an hour because they can't throw a strike on the outside corner knee high. They can't do it.
No, they're just throwing it for strikes.
they're throwing it 100 miles an hour down the pipe, and I hope you can't hit this. And then I'll throw a slider and be like, I hope you can't hit this either. The slider's not a strike either, by the way.
Nope.
But the batter's going to swing at it because he's guessing. Because that's what batters do now. They don't swing a fastball. But I digress. It's TJ's favorite time of year, favorite time of day, favorite time of week, favorite time of life.
Whiskey of the week.
Bang! Shotgun.
Dude. With that introduction, I thought we were having Brenner.
Brenner?
Brenner. Breakfast for dinner.
It's Brenner.
So, this week's Whiskey of the Week is something called an infinity bottle. If you are into whiskey, you already know what this is. If you're not, let me explain it to you. You take a nice bottle of bourbon that you've already finished, or whiskey, or whatever you have. You clean it out real good. And then you start filling it with your favorite pours of other bottles that you have. Maybe the bottles are getting a little low and you're getting rid of, your last couple pours in the bottle, right? Because if you just let it sit there and you don't have a good solid seal on your cork, it'll evaporate. It's alcohol. It'll dissipate. You'll lose flavor on it. So you add it to an infinity bottle and you keep adding your other whiskeys that get lower and lower. And the next thing you do is you have a brand new whiskey that's never been tried before that you invented, blended by you because you know it better than any master distiller in Kentucky or Tennessee or anywhere else. And you got a unique bottle just for yourself. So what I did was I intentionally made an infinity bottle, 2-ounce pours of 13 different whiskeys that I had. And I'll do a video on what those whiskeys are just to like kind of create something of my own. And they were like the 13 whiskeys I had this year that were like amazing. And I don't think I created something amazing by mixing them together. It's not bad, but the better whiskeys in there, the higher proof whiskeys, the older whiskeys, I think I kind of de-aged them because this is very young tasting, but sweet, got the corn sweetness to it, 113.6 proof. And I think I took away from the better whiskeys in here with the younger whiskeys. Still pretty good. On the nose, you get a nice little burn, caramel, wood, typical bourbon smells, and then on the taste, yeah, you just instantly hit with that caramel sweetness. Buttery smooth, though, I got to say, it's kind of oily. So the older ones are coming through in that way, but the finish is very short like a young whiskey. But either way, always fun to try. You can do this with anything. You can mix your favorite scotches. You can mix your favorite bourbons, American whiskey, single malt, whatever you got. It's always fun to goof around and play around and see if you can create, Frankenstein's monster or a gem. What do you got going today, Nick?
So, as you know, I'm a whiskey guy. I drink bourbons. I drink scotches. I drink good whiskeys. But every so often, I like to go back to my old friend. As a Puerto Rican, I am drinking Bacardi. And speaking of old friends, oh my goodness!
Wow. Who is this dude?
I'm here. Oh,
wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We see you, but we don't believe you.
I know. Geez. Believe it when I see it. See it when you believe it.
Holy cow. We call this guy the Hasidim. Hasidim, but
No, you don't. What's going on, boys? I'm enjoying the whiskey of the week. You mixed 13 different bourbons into that?
13 different pours, all the stuff that I really enjoyed this year. Some of it like cask strength stuff, and then some of it lower, nothing lower than 100 proof. So just bottled and bond bottles. But mix it together and tried to make something silly.
So let me get this straight. So you had 13 open bottles of alcohol in your house. What does your sponsor think about that?
I hope my wife isn't watching because right now she'd be screaming like, hell yes. Fucking,
that's our college education you're drinking there.
I have, I want to say like 30 something open bottles of different whiskeys right now because bourbon hunting is an addiction. I shop for bourbon more than I drink bourbon at this point. My man C-Mac, Chris McCormick, knows the deal. He kind of turned me on to getting back into it. And now you just go and you find different things that are like, holy shit, I haven't seen that out in a while before. Let me snag that. It's like Pokemon, but you have to pay to enslave the creatures.
It's like Pokemon. I got to say,
you got to catch them all.
Too. That's empty. That's empty.
The Woodford you're holding though, that's like delicious.
That's almost empty.
I love the bullet. That's just classic.
And then I just got this the other day. And Meredith and I put a nice dent into this. So this is a Bacardi Gran Reserva. Yes. So the 10-year Bacardi. Like I told you, I went down to the Bacardi factory and I tried like real good Bacardi, not the mixing shit that you make pina coladas and freaking mixed drinks with. Like, say again? Even 151, not something you're going to drink. So basically, I learned at the Bacardi factory that if it has a cork, then it's a sipping rum. If it is a twist off cap, then that's the stuff that you're going to mix with, your daiquiris and all that other crap. So I've been drinking a lot of this stuff. You saw I had the 18 the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I still have a little bit of that left for you guys. I left a little bit for you guys.
My man.
Well, thanks for saving us.
I just got to get it. But this is really good stuff. It's very smooth. They take this stuff. The reason it's dark is they take regular rum, which we all know is clear, and once they filter it, right after they filter it, basically they filter it into a bourbon cask, an oak cask that they use, and they let it sit in the sun for like 8 years or whatever it is, and that's why it comes out gold like that. Very smooth. It's sweet, and like everything in life that's good, it goes down easy. So I'm a big fan of the Bacardi. Anything Bacardi with a cork on it is a very solid alcoholic beverage. What is that you got there, Rook?
I brought a bottle. I was prepared. I got Yellowstone, Kentucky Straight, Yellowstone Select. It's pretty sweet. It has one of these. Those nice little. Didn't pop as much as I wanted it to, but it's actually pretty good. Have you guys ever had any of this or not?
I saw it the other day.
Good. I've had it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's sweet. This on the bottle says citrus and oak, hints of citrus and oak. It does have that flavor to it.
I put on the side of my bottles smells and taste of lanolin. Lanolin,
like sheep's wool.
It's always funny. Me and my buddy always go back and forth with this, and even my cousin Ruben, we like cigars, and if you are into cigars, you watch these like different YouTubers. So I do the same thing with bourbon and stuff like that, just to get the idea of tasting notes. And when I throw out my tasting notes, I try to do the typical stuff that everybody's going to pick up. And then you got these guys that need to be amazing that are like, oh yes, it tastes like Indonesian sea salt, but only before the month of December. It's like, wait, what? Like I didn't get that at all.
I want you to know.
Inuit kicked you in the stomach after eating porpoise. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. Start
going on your kick of like, I smell vanilla and oak and honeysuckle. I'm like, you've never tasted honeysuckle. I've known you for 15 years. I
used to grow on my fence at home.
You touch a honeysuckle.
Used to grow on my fence at home. Boom.
I sit here like it's like unicorn.
It actually has, this has a hint of like a cherry flavor to it. It's like,
has Rook tasted cherries? I don't know if I believe him.
I definitely tasted cherry.
Garcia multiple times.
All right. Well, cheers. Welcome back, Rook. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers. I mean, this is good. It's solid bourbon. Good finish too. When you saw,
I think now that we have Rook here, I think we have to jump in really quick to get a little angry and a little passion out of him right from the get-go and talk about this Live PGA merger and all the, I guess, law implications that's getting thrown out there. I mean, I think we might be in court for a little bit over this.
But right before we do, let's get a word from our sponsor.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code Scoreboards to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Thank you, gingerbread.
I like that. Never missing out on a point. It's badass.
You know what I don't like? I don't like the hypocrisy of the PGA merging with LIV. That's pissing me off the most.
Tell us,
they're
Rook.
all on their high horse, up in their ivory tower, and then the minute they're like, "Oh, this could come tumbling down on us, and we don't have enough money to pay outlive the PIF, what is it, the Public Investment Fund?"
Yep.
And they immediately cave, and that bastard Jay Monahan. Oh no, is it Monahan? Yeah, Monahan.
Yeah,
right? That's it.
Monahan.
If I pronounce it correct, but he is one son of a bitch.
A little douche nozzly, if you ask me.
100%.
If you don't recall, I said it multiple times when this was going down, and the PGA before, pretty much a year before, when the PGA started their blackballing of LIV Golf, we said it here that they're going to coexist. You're not going to outlast the Saudi money because it's limitless, considering they just go and dig up this sludge out of the friggin' earth and sell it to people for a shit ton of money, right? Dude, it's essentially limitless.
They're running out of oil in 20 years.
It is.
They're trying to buy fucking WWE.
But, what I'm saying is it's limitless right now. It's going to take them 20 years to go through it. So, I mean, you sell oil for 20 years straight, you have limitless funds. You'll never be able to spend that in your life. Whatever. I digress. They had all they had to do was outlast what PGA thought that they were going to last, right? PGA assumed they could force them out and blackball them, essentially trying to bring different golf sponsorships away from them, threatening players that if you go over there, you're persona non grata, you're done with us, right? And I'm sure they made the same statements to the different golf sponsorships, of the world, the different people that put money into golf. They're like, hey, you can't be, you can't, we won't promote you if you promote over there. You know what I mean? I'm sure they threatened different TV services, whatever connections they did, they blackballed them through and through. And yet they lasted. And all they had to do is outlast, because the one thing the PGA revels in is the monopoly of golf. So at some point, if they outlasted the, getting killed in the media and getting stalwart every time they try to bring money in, all you had to do is outlast that, and the PGA was eventually going to come knocking. It's business 101, right? You want to have a monopoly, you want to be the only player in the game, you make sure the other players in the game can't win, or if they do win, you pick them up and it's your revenue now.
Well, the thing is, too, I don't think we're out less than like media coverage wise or entertainment wise. Like, I don't think the LIV Golf was that entertaining.
Besides, they just had to occupy a space with golf at the same time.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I watched some of the CW for a little bit. I just didn't get into it. Like, the ratings weren't there. They weren't really growing. People went to the event. People had fun. You guys went last year. You guys had a good time. But I think when it came down to the legal aspect of it, was that they were going to have to give all the Discovery, open up. The PGA Tour is a 501c charitable nonprofit organization. Once their books had opened up and you look further into it, they might actually lose. They would have lost it. If you look into them a little deeper. So I think with them, they were like, all right, we have to save face. Let's try to make this deal with LIV or the PIF, because we're technically not saying they're merging with LIV, as Rory McIlroy is saying. They're merging with pretty much PIF and with DP Tour. So,
but it's the same thing.
It's also, I don't say it's the same thing, but they're saying like LIV's not.
They're trying to save face at a time that if you wanted to save face, you shouldn't have had, the Brandel Chamblees of the world absolutely shitting on anybody that's willing to go over there, trying to label people as terrorists and people that are okay with human rights violations. They went full bore on that because they were trying to get rid of LIV from the get-go, and it didn't work out. Now you can't save face, and now you hear reports of like other players. The meeting that Jay Monahan had with the players, essentially, I think they said like 92% were angry and screaming stuff at him as he was discussing this, because essentially you sold everybody out. Dude, you essentially said if you leave, you're not going to get rewarded, knowing that at some point they were going to get rewarded. And these guys left and they made all this money, and you screwed 99% of your guys out of making money. And
the guys who like Hideki Matsuyama was going to get offered like close to $1 billion because he's in one of the biggest markets. He's a Japanese player. Yeah. He's in the Asian markets. Srixon is his main sponsor. He would have had $1 billion, and that would have been huge because now all the Asian market, the Asian ratings from the Asia area would have been watching LIV because just they want to watch Hideki Matsuyama, and he was going to get close to $1 billion.
Two things. One, you say Asia way too many times. All right, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, what you're describing, T, sounds like and excuse me for the reference, but it sounds a lot like the Vietnam War, where they were like, if you run away to Canada, you don't come fucking back in this country. And then in like 1980, Jimmy Carter became president and was like, hey guys, you can come on back. And you're like, bro, I got my leg blown off in fucking Vietnam. If I'd have known that shit, I went to Canada.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it's the about face switch from the dude that's telling you I'm leading you guys down the right road, when in reality, he knew this was coming to a head at some point. It's either they were going to crush them financially and make them quit, or they were going to eventually have to merge. But if you sit there and you tell everybody, it's the Nick Saban situation. I'm not going back to college. I'm not going back to college. I'm an NFL coach now. And the first chance he got, he fled back to college football.
Yeah.
You know, you can't sit there and assure people that listen, this is the worst thing you could do, and you cost your players' families generational money.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like it's what that guy, what was his name, Jimmy Dunn. He was the one that was he had, I think his like 50 or 60 employees died in 9/11. Like he was one of the big companies that lost a lot of people in 9/11.
Right.
And then he went on this like crazy tirade last week about like how, if I find out any of them who are involved in LIV or involved, the PIF are involved in 9/11, I'm going to kill them personally, like all this stuff. And then not only that, they had the 9/11 families outside Trump Bedminster protesting. And then they'd be like, all right, we support you guys. We support, the victims of 9/11. We're not going to work with the Saudis. We don't want LIV to be here. And then you literally turn around and spit in their face and be like, hey, we're going to merge with LIV.
That's so ridiculous, though, because what the hell does 9/11 have to do with Saudi Arabia?
Well, that's what I get too, but that was their. I'm not saying they are. Like, I agree with you, Nick, but that was
there was the what's it called, accusation of like collusion with some Saudi money having to do with the Taliban and stuff like that, and Osama bin Laden. There was a connection there, but it's a fucking dude. It's a stretch.
So, but here's the deal, right? Bin Laden's family, without getting too political, Bin Laden's from Yemen. His family owned a construction company in Saudi Arabia. So they made all their money from Saudi Arabia, and then they disowned him when he decided to do his shit. But like, they still associate. It would be like if somebody in the American government's kid became a terrorist, and they're like, the American government are terrorists now. What? No, that's not how it works. Once I disown you, you're done with you, son.
Well, we get it. Nick,
they what's it called?
That was what they were using to say LIV is bad.
I hear you. Disowning Rook, but here he is now.
That's true. But they tried every ploy, the Khashoggi thing. While it's sad and it's ridiculous to kill somebody for, actually trying to report politics that you don't agree with or whatever like that, God bless the First Amendment, right? Even though most of the people in this country take advantage of it or don't appreciate it, I should say.
I think they don't understand it.
Yeah, they're probably not. But while it's a horrible thing to happen, you're essentially saying that, Live Golf literally murdered a political reporter. Like, that's not what happened. By supporting this, it's like, really, dude, can we go down? Like, how many dictators has the United States violently overthrew to put their guy in over the course of the last 50 years? You know what I mean? Like the whole movie Lord of War about the dude that got traded for Brittany Griner. It's based on a true story. The guy was legally trading guns under the guise of it's as long as you trade it to the people that we're for, the United States doesn't have a problem with you illegally doing this. You know what I mean? Like,
NSA agents listening to this podcast, the Scoreboard Addicts are not a unified group. I mean, we're represented by an LLC. However, TJ's comments are his and his alone.
My name is Nick Velasquez, and I have questionable things on my laptop computer at home. Please come visit me. In case the FBI, I got to throw them off the trail if they're listening.
I fucking sold out.
All I know is some dude sitting there named Chad was listening like, Velasquez, we got it.
Yeah.
He's a minority. They won't question it for a little bit.
Wow. I'm wrong kind of
All I know is that it's just the big hypocrisy of the PGA. Moving on. Try to move on. Go away from Nick.
We went off on a tangent.
And yeah,
it's the hypocrisy of telling your guys that I have your best interest at heart and I just screwed you. That's the hypocrisy. Yeah. I screwed you guys out of hundreds of men. Not like, dude, you go to a taco stand and they rip you off and they only give you 2 tacos and you're supposed to get 3. If you go to McDonald's, they give you a medium fry and you ordered a large, you're fucking pissed when you get home. You're like, I'm not driving back there for that $1, but I might, damn it. You know what I mean? And now put that to the 100 million magnitude. And that's how much Jay Monahan fucked his own guys out of. And it's just like, well, it's business, guys. It's like, really? Because people have gotten killed for a lot less than a couple $100 million.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Oh, thank God. Dude, I love having these live guys back because not for nothing, they own what? Almost 40% of the top 20 or top 25 players. So yeah, it's great for golf that they're all back together. But
are they going to
the live tour was great for golf either way.
Are they going to be in the PGA games is the question.
I guess you'd have to restructure the deal because now I'm assuming they're represented by their own lawyers, whereas the PGA as a whole own the player's identity, essentially. They don't own the live guy's identity anymore.
They said it wouldn't happen until next year or next season.
Oh, okay, I feel cheated, but all right. Moving on. We got 9 minutes left. Let's crunch it in. In basketball news, congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, your NBA Finals champions. After a long, hard struggle for like what seems like forever, they finally get their first one, right?
Yeah, first one ever. It's 40-something years since the merger of the ABA and the NBA.
Yeah, Jokic wins MVP for the finals and loses the trophy almost immediately.
His brothers probably lost it. They're crazy Serbians. They're all.
He's like, oh, one of the attendants took it from me when I was in the locker room, and I came back and it was gone. I don't know where it is. And he genuinely seemed like he didn't give a shit. And the basketball world is angry.
He doesn't care. I love it. I actually love the fact that he won, shook every one of the Heat's players' like hands, like good sportsmanship.
That's called sportsmanship. I know Americans wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah, and he shook all their hands. Then he went to celebrate. But they asked him afterwards at the parade. The parade was today. He actually, I saw photos of it. He enjoyed it, but they were like, "Oh, the parade's Thursday." And he's like, "No, I have to go home to my horses." So like, he literally does not like basketball is his job. Like that's our 9 to 5. Like we enjoy doing this. Like this is like our job is like you complain about it, you don't like it. That's him with the NBA, which is funny because millions of people would love being in his shoes. And he's just, I'm over it. He's like, I just want to go home now. That's all he wants.
Dude, I can't blame him because the NBA season is pretty long as it is, and all that moving around and traveling around. But it's funny, like me and Nick always thought of Derek Jeter like that. And I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't a great baseball player, but he didn't look like he had fun playing baseball. He looked like it was a business. This was his job. The same way, like the dude at Philadelphia Pretzel Factory sits there and kneads dough in the morning. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I am pretty good at it, but whatever.
In other news, I'm pretty sure that the Nuggets coach was drunk at the parade today.
He has a right to be.
Did you guys happen to catch that?
Not at all.
It was pretty it was pretty funny actually. I courtesy of Twitter and the NBA on ESPN. Here's a quick video of what Michael Malone looked like today at the parade.
I'm already laughing.
Pretty sure that's champagne in his hand. He's not on ice.
No, good for him.
I'm not mad at him. The guy's having a great time. Here's
Michael Malone coming from downtown Denver on parade day. And I'm surrounded by 500,000 of my best friends and my beautiful wife. And I just want to say to Nuggets Nation, 8 years for me, the 47 years for you. I appreciate your patience. This is a beautiful day, and we love each and every one of you guys. So what a great day to celebrate a championship, but we're not done yet. We're some greedy bastards, baby. We're some greedy bastards. We're getting another one, and I'm out.
I gotta say, honestly, like he's at that transition point, right? He's at that transition drunk where it's like he's still pretty calm and collected, right? He's very lovey-dovey. He's loving every minute of it. By the end of that parade route, that has the ability to turn a corner and go a little too far, and all of a sudden, right in front of his wife, he's like looking at the crowd, like, "Hey, You got some nice boobies, bitch. What? I didn't say nothing. What the fuck?
You know, you were thinking it.
Yeah. Jokic never let them go to the finals ever again, though. He's like, I'm not doing this. This is way too long.
That was the NBA. And one last thing. We're running out of time. I don't have time for the whole thing. TJ, give me the rundown on the NHL.
Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup, defeating the Florida Panthers, who I think deserved it more. Rook is happy. We don't know why. He fucking lives in New Jersey.
I love Vegas. Vegas is just everything they do is
this
awesome.
Guy, unbelievable. But the New York Rangers snagged Peter Laviolette as their head coach, which was, I wanted Patrick Waugh. I thought it'd be more entertaining. No offense to Peter Laviolette, but I'm not like. I have no hype. It's like, okay, that was a vanilla choice. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, let's see what he can do.
Safe choice.
Yeah, dude, I would have much preferred Patrick Waugh. I would have I want that fire. I want that passion. You know what I mean? Whatever. We'll see how this year goes, because the Rangers are, and as our good friend Dave, us and Rook were talking about it. The Rangers are like 3 or 4 seasons away from being like the 2000 Rangers. It's something has to happen. Like, we can't sit here and let Shesterkin get the Lundqvist treatment. It's just like, that's not fair to him. It wasn't fair to Hank. We got to get it done for the dude, because he stands on his head every night. We've gotten lucky with goalies in the past 20 years, I'd say, 30 even. We've been really fortunate with our goalies. It's just the guys have to get it done. And we have an owner that puts money into this team and makes moves happen. And Drury has a great hockey sense, I think, in that front office. I'm very impressed with how he's been so far in the past couple of years. So, I'm looking forward to the Rangers season, but Vegas Golden Knights absolutely stunned me. Rook is going to pretend like he knew it all along, but
no, I didn't. I was actually shocked. I thought Florida's played pretty well, and they played against the best teams in the NHL. But they were really banged up. Did you hear about Matt Tkachuk, who had the broken sternum before Game 4, and he still played?
Yeah.
How do you break your sternum?
I think he had a nasty hit from a Vegas player. And
I get that, but show me on your body right now the bone that is a sternum.
Is it right here, right? Your chest.
No, that's your rib cage.
No, right here in the middle. No, isn't it? That just
this whole area is your sternum. Like,
yeah, that's like I said.
But your sternum is a part of the body, like not an actual part of the body. It's like a whole.
Yeah.
No, I know.
It's like if I said aim for center mass, if we're at the shooting range, that's just the middle. It doesn't mean like I'm naming specific organs.
There's no bone in your shoulder.
It could be like a fracture. It's still considered a broken.
You fractured his rib cage, not a sternum. You can't break your sternum. It's like breaking your.
That's how they categorize
it. One last thing before we go. At the NBA Finals, Conor McGregor accused of sexual assault. Your thoughts?
Sexual assault? There was physical assault of the mascot.
No, that too. He knocked out the mascot, but he also got accused of sexual assault. Holy shit!
Really?
There's 2 for 2.
Yeah. He had a good top of the finals, huh?
Conor McGregor's. As far as his living in the space of media and his persona out there, dude. Like, look what he's done. He's throwing shit at a bus and breaking windows at an MMA event. What was that with him and Khabib? Through a a dolly or some shit like that?
Yeah.
At Khabib's
We've
bus.
seen this already. We've seen this before. Mike Tyson did the same thing. He went to jail for like 3 years for it. Conor McGregor needs to calm the fuck down. We can't continue. We gotta go. We're hitting that time. I'm getting the flashy lights and the walk away music. But we want to thank you, and we'll catch you again next week.